Think of a robot that walks into a factory, sees a pressure gauge, that measuring device installed on a pipeline, and, without anyone needing to explain anything, reads the value, interprets whether it's within normal range, and generates an alert. No commands, no prior programming, just reasoning. This robot already exists, and the consequences for industry could be far greater than they appear. Boston Dynamics and Google DeepMind have just revealed an update that changes the rules of the game for industrial robots. And what no one expected is the speed at which this reached the real market. What you're about to discover here will change the way you see the future of work in the coming years. Want to understand everything? Then watch the video until the end and I'll explain it all. But first, leave your like and subscribe to the channel. That way, you'll stay informed about the latest news in robotics. For decades, industrial robots did exactly what someone programmed them to do. Every movement, every task, every response to an environmental stimulus had to be written in code by an engineer. It was slow, expensive, and rigid work. If the reality of the factory changed, new equipment, different lighting, an object out of place, the robot would simply freeze or make mistakes. That was the central limitation of traditional robotics. Machines incapable of improvising, incapable of reasoning. Boston Dynamics and Google DeepMind officially announced a partnership that challenges precisely this logic. The American company, a subsidiary of the Hyundai Group, integrated the Gemini Robotics-ER 1.6 model, developed by Google's artificial intelligence laboratory, directly into its industrial inspection system called Orbit AIVI-Learning. The goal, to give the quadruped robot Spot the ability to reason about its surrounding environment, rather than just detecting previously cataloged patterns. The update has been active for all customers using the AIVI-Learning platform since April 8, 2026. It's not a laboratory project or a proof of concept. It's a real change, implemented in the field at industrial facilities around the world, where Spot has already been operating for years. To understand the relevance of this, you need to know who Spot is. Launched commercially in 2020, Spot is a four-legged robot that walks similarly to an animal. It climbs stairs, crosses uneven terrain, and operates in environments where wheels and tracks can't reach. Over the past 5 years, Spot has been adopted by hundreds of companies in sectors such as mining, energy, oil and gas, construction, and manufacturing. Today, there are several thousand units in active commercial operation, making Spot one of the few legged robots to have achieved real industrial scale. This installed base is precisely what makes this announcement so significant. The new intelligence isn't going to a prototype under testing. It's going to robots that are already working. The public demonstration of the integration was shown in a video released by Boston Dynamics on YouTube. The video shows Spot reading a handwritten list of tasks and executing actions such as organizing shoes, picking up cans, and putting clothes in a laundry basket. In one of the sequences, the robot picks up a leash and takes a dog for a walk, demonstrating the ability to translate natural language instructions into concrete physical actions. But the domestic application is just the showcase. The central goal of the update is industrial inspection, a field where Spot is already deployed at large scale. The question that specialists and industrial managers are asking now is, what does it mean in practice to have a robot that not only detects but understands what it's seeing? The answer to that question, and its profound impacts on workplace safety, industrial efficiency, and the job market, is what we'll explore throughout this video. And believe me, what Boston Dynamics did with Spot goes far beyond teaching a robot to walk a dog. To understand what changed with the Gemini Robotics-ER 1.6, you need to grasp a key concept, what researchers call embodied reasoning. The idea is simple to explain, but difficult to implement. Instead of receiving an instruction like, go to point A, photograph the pressure gauge and send the value, the robot is now able to understand the context, know what a pressure gauge is, interpret the measurement scale, identify whether the read value is normal or represents a risk, and make decisions based on that analysis. The Gemini Robotics-ER 1.6 model focuses precisely on embodied reasoning, allowing robots to interpret visual inputs, plan tasks, and determine when a task is complete. This represents a shift from machines that merely follow commands to systems capable of making contextual decisions. One of the most concrete new features is instrument reading capability. The model presents advances in spatial reasoning and multi-camera understanding, as well as introducing the ability to read instruments, such as pressure gauges and indicators common in industrial environments. Until then, reading an analog pressure gauge required the system to have been specifically trained for that particular equipment model, in that environment, with that lighting. With Gemini Robotics-ER 1.6, the robot generalizes. It understands the concept of a measuring instrument and knows how to interpret it, whatever the model may be. The performance benchmark results are impressive. Instrument reading accuracy jumped from 23% to 93% with the new vision technology. In practical terms, before, the system was wrong most of the time and was barely useful. Now, it gets it right almost every time and can already be used in real industries. The new integration allows the system to perform advanced tasks such as 5S compliance audits, precise pallet counting, glass level indicator measurement, and analog pressure gauge reading. 5S is a Japanese industrial organization methodology. If the name isn't familiar, just know that it's one of the most widely used quality management systems in the world in factories and warehouses. Another fundamental new feature is what Boston Dynamics calls transparent reasoning. The system provides transparent reasoning, allowing users to see how the artificial intelligence reaches its conclusions, an important feature for industrial users concerned with accountability and decision-making. This is revolutionary for industry. Instead of a black box system that simply says, "Alert detected," Spot with Gemini shows the reasoning step by step. The manager can audit the robot's decision the same way they would audit that of a human operator. It's important to note that Gemini Robotics operates within well-defined limits in this scenario. It cannot invent new capabilities or control Spot beyond what is available through the API. This keeps Spot's behavior predictable, while still allowing Gemini Robotics to adapt to different situations. The system also offers continuous updates with no downtime. Sophisticated artificial intelligence models are continuously updated and refined in the cloud, meaning inspection accuracy improves automatically without teams needing to run manual updates or schedule shutdowns. From a technical standpoint, the integration occurs in two layers. The first is the AI Visual Inspection System, which processes images captured by Spot and answers questions about the environment, such as identifying whether a door was left open or detecting spills. The second is AIVI-Learning, which goes further. It uses real installation data to continuously adapt the models to that specific environment, learning from the routine of each factory. The system requires data sharing to work effectively, as the models are trained and adapted for each installation individually. Customer data is used to improve the system's performance, but is shared only with Boston Dynamics. What makes this specific moment relevant is not just the technology itself, but the fact that it is being deployed at real scale, in real industrial facilities, with robots that already have an operational track record. This sets it apart from virtually all other AI robotics announcements of recent years, most of which have remained as laboratory demonstrations. The sectors that benefit most are those that need constant inspections in dangerous places: oil refineries, power plants, mines, offshore oil platforms, and large factories. In these environments, equipment failures not detected in time can cause serious accidents, costly shutdowns, and even deaths. A robot that previously only detected what it had been programmed to detect can now reason about abnormal conditions that were never explicitly described in the code, identifying, for example, a valve in an unusual position or a puddle of water in an electrical hazard area. For the companies that operate these environments, the promise is clear: fewer accidents, less unplanned downtime, and safer operations with less human exposure to danger. On the jobs side, the picture is more complex. Industrial inspection technicians, plant operators, and workers responsible for monitoring rounds have concrete reasons to pay attention to this development. Spot with Gemini doesn't replace an experienced engineer. It still doesn't have the ability to make complex decisions in the face of completely unprecedented situations, but it efficiently replaces the routine rounds that today consume hours of human workers' days. The opportunity, on the other hand, lies in the analysis layer. The more high-quality data the robot collects and interprets, the greater the demand for professionals capable of translating that data into strategic decisions. The market won't simply shrink, it will reorganize. But this reorganization process is never painless. The fusion between Boston Dynamics and Google DeepMind was received with moderate enthusiasm by the scientific and technological world. On one hand, robotics researchers acknowledge that integrating large language and computer vision models into physical platforms is a genuine step toward more autonomous and useful robots. On the other, there is legitimate skepticism about the real pace of adoption and the limitations that persist. The system combines vision, language understanding, and task planning, allowing Spot to interpret its surrounding environment and respond with minimal human intervention. This marks a shift from traditional robotics, where tasks require precise programming. But the demonstration also makes clear where the gaps are. In one example, the robot holds a can sideways, a simple mistake that could cause spills, showing that human-level understanding is still limited. Boston Dynamics is not alone in this race. The competitive landscape in autonomous AI-powered inspection is increasingly contested, and understanding where Spot excels and where it falls short helps put the real importance of this update in perspective. Anybotics, a Swiss startup, operates the Animal robot, a quadruped platform focused on industrial inspection with significant experience on oil and gas platforms in Europe and the Middle East. The Animal already had good vision before Spot, but doesn't have an AI as powerful as Google DeepMind. The big difference with Spot now lies in the intelligence. It can read instruments, understand the context of what it sees, and explain its reasoning, something Animal still doesn't do at the same level. Ghost Robotics, an American company with strong contracts in the U.S. defense sector, operates the Vision 60, another quadruped with a history of use in perimeter patrolling and military missions. The Vision 60 has advantages in durability and resistance to extreme conditions, but its intelligent inspection software platform is less mature than Boston Dynamics' Orbit ecosystem. In the humanoid and android robotics segment, which sometimes competes indirectly with quadrupeds in industrial tasks, companies like Figure AI, Agility Robotics, and Boston Dynamics itself, with Atlas, are advancing rapidly. Spot's experience in the field can help improve Atlas, Boston Dynamics' humanoid robot, because data collected in real-world situations shows how artificial intelligence can work better in physical robots. The Tesla Optimus, Tesla's humanoid robot, is frequently cited as a long-term competitor in the industrial automation segment. Tesla has significant advantages in scale manufacturing and hardware cost, but is still in the early phase of commercial deployment, without the operational track record that Spot has accumulated over 5 years. Spot is one of the few legged robots already being used at large scale in the real world. That consolidated reputation, now combined with Gemini's intelligence, is a combination that is difficult to replicate quickly. What Spot with Gemini does differently, in short, is combine 3 assets rarely found together: a field-proven physical platform, a mature software ecosystem, and access to one of the most powerful language and vision models in the world. The clearest competitive disadvantage remains the price. Spot costs around $74,000 per unit, which limits adoption by mid-sized companies, and the dependence on cloud connectivity and data for the most advanced functions, something that can be a problem in remote environments or those with network restrictions. What Boston Dynamics and Google DeepMind have done with Spot goes beyond a simple update. It's a clear signal of where industrial robotics is heading. Robots capable of reasoning, understanding situations, reading instruments, and explaining their own conclusions are no longer a lab promise. They are in real operation, in factories and industrial plants, learning from every inspection they perform. The limitations still exist, and being honest about them is part of what makes this advance credible. But the direction is unmistakable. Each new version of the model will reduce those limitations, and the learning curve is accelerating. And you, who work in or have an interest in the industrial sector, if Spot with Gemini could today carry out autonomous inspections in your area of work, what would be the task you'd trust the robot with? And which would you never let be done by anything other than a human being? Leave your answer in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, leave your like and subscribe to the channel. That way, you'll always receive notifications of new videos. Until next time.